Gen Z is often called the poorest generation, but what does that really mean? In 2023, more than 40% of young adults are living paycheck to paycheck. That's a staggering number, especially when you consider that this generation is facing student debt, soaring rent prices, and an economy that seems to be working against them. But it gets worse. Gen Z has less wealth than any generation before them at the same age. In fact, they're 50% less wealthy than millennials were at the same age. You've probably heard people blame things like bad financial habits or poor choices. But is that the real reason? Or is there something deeper going on that no one's talking about? In this video, we'll dive into the hidden factors holding Gen Z back and reveal shocking truths that might just change how you think about money, work, and the future. Stay tuned, because you won't believe how much of this is beyond their control. Chapter 1. The Silent Struggle. Gen Z's financial wake-up call. Gen Z is facing financial pressures that earlier generations didn't experience. The cost of living is rising faster than wages, leaving young people struggling to catch up. According to a 2023 report by Bank of America, 58% of Gen Z adults say they struggle to meet their basic living expenses. While older generations may have had a chance to build wealth, Gen Z is starting at a disadvantage. Many of them entered adulthood during the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, and they're now facing the effects of inflation and housing shortages. Add to that the staggering cost of education, and you get a generation that feels financially behind before they even begin. They also grew up in the digital age, which means they are constantly exposed to wealth and success on social media. While this exposure to perfect lives can create an aspiration to succeed, it can also lead to feelings of inadequacy and financial strain. With rent prices rising 25% over the past 5 years, a solid financial future seems out of reach for many. On top of that, many Gen Zers rely on credit cards for day-to-day expenses, leading them into a cycle of debt. What's even more troubling is that fewer than 25% of Gen Z adults are saving for retirement, according to a 2023 report from Charles Schwab. But despite these challenges, Gen Z is trying to be resourceful. Many are turning to side hustles, looking for ways to make ends meet. For instance, 40% of Gen Z say they make money outside of their primary job. Still, the constant financial juggling is exhausting and may not lead to long-term success if they don't build better saving habits. Chapter 2. The Gig Economy Trap. Why job insecurity is holding Gen Z back. The gig economy has exploded in recent years, and for many Gen Zers, it's the only job market they know. The ability to work remotely, be your own boss, and pick your own hours sounds like a dream, but it's filled with hidden struggles. According to Pew Research, more than 30% of young workers aged 18-29 work in part-time or freelance jobs. While flexibility is great, it often means no health benefits, no paid time off, and no retirement savings. For many, gig work isn't a choice, it's a necessity. Gen Z grew up during the rise of the digital economy and saw the traditional job market shrink as automation and outsourcing took hold. This means fewer full-time, stable jobs. In fact, a 2022 report from the Freelancers Union found that more than 50% of Gen Z freelancers say they feel the financial instability of freelance work. While some gig workers can make a good income, it's rarely consistent. Seasonal dips or unexpected changes in demand can cause serious financial strain. And without employer support, they must handle their own taxes, healthcare, and retirement planning, things most people don't even think about until much later in their career. This instability is one of the reasons that, according to a 2023 survey by Gallup, 45% of Gen Z workers are planning to leave their jobs within the next year for better opportunities. To make matters worse, gig jobs often don't offer the same upward mobility that traditional jobs do. That means less room for financial growth over time, which can feel discouraging when you're already behind on savings and bills. Chapter 3. Living on likes, how social media fuels Gen Z's money. FOMO. Social media isn't just for keeping up with friends, it's driving Gen Z's spending habits. Influencers, celebrities, and viral trends paint an image of success, and it's hard to resist wanting a piece of that lifestyle. A 2022 survey by CNBC revealed that 1 in 3 Gen Z consumers spend money they don't have on experiences or items seen on social media. The pressure to appear successful online can lead to impulse purchases. Gen Z is buying clothes, gadgets, and experiences they can't afford, trying to keep up with the influencers they follow. A 2023 study from Deloitte found that 49% of Gen Z consumers believe social media directly influences their purchasing decisions. But it doesn't stop there. Social media also affects mental health. FOMO, fear of missing out, is real, and it leads to financial decisions that aren't always smart. In a survey by the American Psychological Association, 40% of Gen Z reported feeling stress due to the pressure of keeping up appearances online. That stress doesn't just affect their happiness, it affects their bank accounts too. Interestingly, more than 40% of Gen Z say they feel their social media presence has to align with a perfect life. This desire to look good online often means overspending on the wrong things that aren't practical or necessary. The gap between the lives they're trying to portray and the reality of their finances can be heartbreaking. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with more insights into the financial challenges Gen Z is facing. Chapter 4. The Education Debt Crisis. Why college may be a costly mistake for many Gen Zers. College is the key to financial success. Or at least, it was. The problem? Student loan debt is crushing them. According to the Federal Reserve, student loan debt has risen to over $1.7 trillion, and a large percentage of that burden falls on Gen Z. In 2023, the average student loan debt for a graduate was about $40,000. But does that debt actually pay off? A recent report by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that more than 40% of recent college graduates are underemployed, meaning their degree isn't providing the expected returns. This leaves many Gen Zers stuck with massive debt, working jobs that don't require a degree, and still struggling to make ends meet. While some Gen Zers are taking alternative routes, like trade schools or starting businesses, many still see higher education as the only way to succeed. But as tuition continues to rise, up 7% in the past 5 years, it's becoming clear that college may not be the golden ticket it once was. Some experts suggest that the financial strain caused by student debt is leading to long-term effects, like delayed homeownership and fewer savings for retirement. In fact, 60% of Gen Z say their student loan debt is preventing them from purchasing a home, according to a 2023 report by the National Association of Realtors. With home prices at an all-time high, that means fewer Gen Zers are getting on the property ladder, further widening the wealth gap. Chapter 5. The Inflation Era. Gen Z versus skyrocketing costs. Inflation is hitting Gen Z harder than any other generation. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, inflation rates in 2023 reached a 40-year high, and the prices of everyday goods are through the roof. While older generations had time to adjust to these price hikes, Gen Z is feeling it acutely. For example, rent prices have increased by 25% in just the last 5 years, making it harder for young people to live independently. Grocery costs have surged, with some basic items like eggs and milk seeing price jumps of over 30%. This means that Gen Z, already struggling to save, is finding it increasingly difficult to make ends meet. Fuel costs are another big factor. With gas prices fluctuating, many Gen Zers are having to decide between filling up their tanks or saving for something more important. A report from the U.S. Energy Information Administration found that fuel prices in 2023 averaged $3.50 per gallon, which is a significant increase from just a few years ago. With inflation, the buying power of Gen Z has decreased significantly. What cost $100 5 years ago now costs $130 or more, leaving less room for savings or investment. It's a financial challenge that seems to have no end in sight. Chapter 6. Mental Health and Money. The invisible barrier to financial success. Money isn't just a numbers game, it's a mental game too. For Gen Z, the stress of financial insecurity is taking a toll on their mental health. A study by the American Psychological Association found that nearly 50% of Gen Z feels stressed about their financial future, with the added pressure of job instability and student debt. This constant financial worry can lead to poor decision-making. Many Gen Zers are so overwhelmed by their financial situation that they avoid budgeting, saving, or even opening bills. According to a 2023 report from Mint, 60% of young adults say they avoid looking at their bank accounts out of fear of what they'll see. This anxiety can lead to bigger problems down the road. Stress is linked to poor physical health, which can further decrease earning potential. A report by the National Institute of Mental Health found that financial stress can lead to depression and anxiety, which only compounds the struggle of trying to build wealth. The connection between mental health and finances is undeniable, and without addressing both, it's nearly impossible for Gen Z to break free from the cycle of poverty. As mental health awareness increases, it's crucial that young people are supported in managing both their emotional and financial well-being. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to subscribe to stay informed about the challenges Gen Z faces, and how they can overcome them.